Before I begin, I want to ask everyone watching this video that if they could go to their Twitter feed and ask around if there are any Black-owned businesses in Las Vegas. And if so, have them contact the Shikama Live Show here on YouTube. Simply look up Shikama. I have a very big brand on the internet. You can Google me, you can Yahoo me, you can Bing me. I pop up and I have thousands and thousands of pages. So I'm looking for Black-owned businesses in the Las Vegas area. That's North Las Vegas, and Henderson. And welcome to the Shikama Live Show. So I can't talk about Black-owned business unless I do some research about Black-owned business. Now, I got hammered when I asked on city data where the predominantly Black areas were. All of the white liberal women realtors took it upon themselves to call me a scum and call me a what do you call it? A bad landlord? What do you call it? A ghetto landlord? What do you call it? And that I'm going to take advantage of Black people. This is with me introducing myself as an investor who invests in real estate, who buys homes and renovates them. Now, where they got, what's the term? Sweatshop landlord? What is it? Ghetto landlord? What? I can't remember. I just can't remember. I don't think that way, so I can't remember the terminology. And I don't mean just one. I mean like pages and pages and pages, and then the moderators locked the thread. Now, I already did a video just talking about that. Well, here's the truth. The west side of Las Vegas was supposedly dedicated to Black, where Blacks lived at one point. And Las Vegas, Nevada, way out west. And during the heyday of Las Vegas, this is no longer the heyday of Las Vegas. Back in the 40s, 50s, Sammy Davis Jr., Henry Belafonte could not be on the strip after dark. Black entertainers were forced to come back to West Las Vegas and stay here. They could not get a room, they could not swim in the swimming pools, etc., etc. So for all the people who say, that was just in the South. No, that wasn't just in the South. So here's a bit of news. So West Las Vegas used to be predominantly Black. That has completely changed. When there were struggling Black-owned businesses. Now, why do you think they would have Black-owned businesses struggling? Well, it's a spider web approach to squeezing out Blacks from owning their own businesses. The city never maintained the roads. Now, can you imagine? You look like you're in Timbuktu, Africa, going down a road that should be nice and tarred, but it looks like a backwoods dirt road. Is that pavement? Potholes. And Blacks, we're talking about Black-owned businesses, right? Pay their taxes to the city. These businesses pay their taxes to the city. Roads not maintained. Sidewalks unwalkable. Street lamps don't turn on. In the city of Las Vegas, casino where trillions of dollars are made in a year, Las Vegas actually nearly has like a third of the GDP of the nation flow through it on a yearly basis. $800 million hotels are paid off in a year. Las Vegas. So we have a third world looking area in Las Vegas. Now, is it any reason that it's in the Black area? Now, I want you to understand that you have Black city councilmen sitting in seats. How is this possible? And you have Black single family residence homes, so they're paying property taxes. They have paid off their homes, established communities, 60 years in the same house, the west side of Las Vegas. So you have the second facet of it. Why are black businesses going under? Okay, so the area is horrible, right? If you were a customer, would you want to travel down a potholed road, walk down a sidewalk that you would trip over because it hasn't been maintained for years? Be caught in the area after dark, none of the street lamps work. You're a prime target for hijacking, mugging, what have you. Any sort of passerby. And I'm not saying that this is a crime-ridden area. It's just that if you present yourself as an easy opportunity, an easy mark, criminals are lazy. If you're an easy mark, they'll take it, right? They're not going to take it in a well-lit area with no bushes around the sidewalks where they can jump out at you. You know, criminals are lazy. I live across the street from one of the security people in one of the casinos, and she was trying to tell me all about the security measures to take around the outside of the house to make sure, even in the backyards and so forth and so on. Well, the banks stopped lending money. Oh, it's the crash of 2008. Hold on. We don't even care about the bank. What about the SBA, the federal funds that are allegedly set aside for not only small businesses, but actually set aside for minority businesses? Out of this fund set aside for minority businesses across the entire country, black-owned firms received less than 1% 2008, less than 2% 2010, less than 3% 2011, and back down to 2% in 2013. Minority. How's that possible? And there are more black-owned firms opening across the country than any other quote-unquote minority group. So where's the money going to? It's going to white women, because white women got themselves declared a minority. It's the biggest bald-faced lie ever in the history of language. A white woman is not a minority. She is a member of the majority. It's like a plantation owner's son saying because he's 17 that he's a minority. No, you're a white man. These are the same people, white women, that receive 90% of affirmative action. 90%. And literally in all of the language for all of these legislations and set-asides and what have you, it was all intended to rectify, and instead of giving reparations to black people, it was to rectify that and not to give reparations to black people, but to start these legislations and these set-asides and so forth to make it equal for black people. And white women took it. And of course, white men are going to agree because white women are married to white men in staggering numbers. MGTOW can go to hell. Feminists can go to hell. White men and white women are married to each other in staggering numbers. Far more than all of the minorities in the entire nation. That's all of the Hispanics, all of the Asians, and all of the blacks put together, all of the Native Americans, all put together. So if a white woman gets set-asides, she is literally robbing from actual minorities, and specifically from black people, and she's married to a white man. So invariably the white man is enriched by a white woman being declared a minority. It is the biggest lie in the history of language. Whenever the first Africans said ooga booga and told a lie, we can go date it all the way back to then. So the SBA And federal set-asides are going to white women and not going to black firms. Firms means businesses. They literally have gone to banks and said, what's going on? They've gone to the SBA and said, what's going on? No answer from the federal government. Now, I do not understand why Jesse Jackson, who marched with Martin Luther King, who got a lot of this legislation passed, hasn't turned around and sued. He must really be one of those okey doke Negroes. He has to be. And I'm sorry to get into this, but it has to be said. It's not just that, oh, black people aren't shopping at black places. No, black people are human too. You don't want to go down a pothole road. You don't want to go down a sidewalk where you could fall over. You don't want to go down a sidewalk with no street lamps coming on in the evening. And you don't want to go to a dilapidated store that has absolutely no money coming in for upkeep and maintenance. That's what business business is a continuous inflow of money, right? A lot of people don't understand the actual money that you make in changing over your product could be as little as 1 penny. Yes, the person in the store is making 1 penny on that comb, that soda, that gasoline that you think they're getting rich off of. Literally 1 penny. And what they really rely on is bank loans to keep them afloat and to keep them going and to keep them growing. Well, if the banks aren't lending and they say, oh, it's a risky area. Well, it's a risky area because the city, which black people pay property taxes on, is not even maintaining the area. And we have black city council men sitting on the seats. So the West Las Vegas is no longer majority black. Blacks moved out and it is now 75% Hispanic. Oh, all of a sudden they have 52 million for roads. They have 42 million for sidewalks. They have 13 million for street lamps. They have renovation set aside by the city. All of a sudden. And so 2013, are the black businesses coming back? No. Still, no loans, no bank loans, no SBA guaranteed loans, nothing. Could it be that the black population isn't supporting them? No, that's not it. That's not it. A business requires an influx of cash, and you have to have good property value. A business is supposed to be located in the prime spot real estate of the area, not somebody's house, not a church, idiot black people, a business. And black-owned businesses hire black people more so than any other entity in the nation, which includes the federal government. Everybody likes to say, oh, the federal government hires the most black people. No, they do not. Black-owned businesses hire the most black people. White-owned businesses hire the most white people. I know the federal government, you have these Democrats trying to say, oh, the federal government, you can get a job with the federal government. You have all of these. No, black-owned businesses hire black people the most. Asian businesses hire Asians the most. Italian businesses hire Italians the most. Not the federal government. So when you dig deeper, it's not just a black community not supporting a black business. Now, there was some criticism by the banks. Now, it doesn't seem like the criticism is trustworthy or truthful, but I'll put it to you. They said that when the black business owners come in, they don't have a business plan, nor are they able to demonstrate how they're going to pay the bank back. Now, we're talking about people who own businesses. We're not talking about startup companies. We're talking about people who own businesses, who literally, while they're meeting, the business is generating cash. So I question whether or not that's truthful, or is it just more systematic industrial racism? You just can't talk about a black problem if you don't look at all of the avenues. Now, the black people need to get these black people off the Las Vegas City Council, the North Las Vegas City Council. They need to get these people off. Get them out of there completely. And then all of a sudden, when the black people leave, all of a sudden there's $200, $500 million for renovation in an area that supposedly is run down, but black people are paying their taxes for. So they can't loan or lend to black businesses, but the black people can go spend their money at the white businesses. Oh, you don't think it's a group effort? It's a group effort. It's called racism. This is exactly what racism is. Racism is not some white guy saying, "Oh, I hate you niggers." That's not racism. That's bigotry. That's prejudice. That's not racism. The word racism is when you have institutional group efforts to deprive black people of their product. And if their product is energy, their labor, that, slavery, right? In their resources, whether that be their money or any of their products that they produce, it's a group thing. And it just so happens that all of the banks said no all of a sudden. But I recall, I kept in contact and kept abreast of all of the issues that the banks said that they were closing down. Labor loans, to pay your labor, you take out a loan, you pay your people, and then you recoup the money, and then you pay back the bank. It's done on a weekly basis, right? It's done over and over and over and over and over. And they said the credit, they were tightening credit, but credit was almost immediately loosed within a year. 2009, it was loosed. They got their money from Obama and Bush, and everything was fine, hunky-dory, almost immediately. But they can't lend to black firms? But of course, the politics of the political racism that goes on with white women declare themselves as a minority, that needs to change. Women in general are not a minority. They're a majority in numbers. There is no aspect of a woman being a minority, none whatsoever, by any definition of the word. Women are not a minority. And I don't take, they're the weaker sex. That has nothing to do with majority and minority. That's not what people are talking about. I call upon the black citizens of Las Vegas, first of all, to start removing these good-for-nothing city councilmen who do absolutely nothing for their black neighborhoods, their black areas, and black people, black middle class are fleeing the areas, fleeing. How do you have an area of a city that makes trillions of dollars look like a third world nation? It's an impossibility that you do not have money. Yet the police department is growing by leaps and bounds, but crime is going down off of a cliff if you look at a chart. We're paying people $60, $70, $80, $100,000 to do what? To sit around? There's more private security in Las Vegas than any other nation than any other city in the nation. Trained, armed, licensed private security. The police, literally 70% of their job is done on a daily basis without them even having to do anything. They were literally sitting around, and this is probably why you have stories like police doing drive-bys, police being involved in prostitution rings, police being involved in child pornography, police being involved in child pedophilia prostitution rings. Yes, Las Vegas police. Horrible. And you have city council members sitting doing nothing. I call upon the black citizens of Las Vegas to stop shucking and jiving, stop pussyfooting around, stop acting like a damn slave, going to work, coming home and sleeping. They're tearing down your community. You're living in potholes, and only when the Mexicans show up do they try and fix it. The Mexicans haven't even paid any taxes. You've been paying for 60 years, and you haven't said, hey, we need to fix these streets. I pay property taxes. I pay sales tax. I pay taxes for this crap. I work in a place that makes $1 billion a day. There is no way, and they pay taxes. So much that Nevada doesn't even have a personal income tax. The city is flush with cash, And you have black areas that look like a third world country. Black people, get off of your butts. Remove these black city councilmen who are doing absolutely nothing for you. If I can name them off, I would name them off. And no, not even 10 years ago, you did not have Latinos living in the area. So black people have been paying all of these taxes all of this time, and then Latinos show up and all of a sudden $500 million in renovation comes from the city when the economy is still bad and we have a 40% unemployment rate. Just all of a sudden, the casinos aren't hurting. The casinos actually came out like gangbusters. They fired 30% of their staff, required the other 70% that was left to pick up the slack of the other 30%, did not give them raises. But when we're talking about casino jobs, we're talking about $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year. And that's not even the tipping jobs. The tipping jobs make even more. So nobody's hurting who's working at the casinos, and all of those taxes are being paid. Black citizens of Las Vegas, you don't live in Idaho, Minnesota, Illinois. You don't live in these poor, desperate, going broke cities, going bankrupt cities. The casinos lied and said that tourism was down. It wasn't down. It was actually up by 10% in 2008. I do my homework. This was to demonstrate that it is not the black community that's making black businesses go out of business. It is, in fact, institutional racism. There is nothing else that you could point to. And you have a bunch of Sambos sitting on the city council, shucking and jiving, smiling for the cameras. And of course, all of the white media here in town is not going to do anything. What do they care? They're not going to hold them accountable for. They're not even going to call them on it. And in fact, the only time that they actually did stories was when they were trying to spend $200 million, $500 million on the west side of Las Vegas. Oh, what's going on here? That's not Summerlin. That's not the rich white area. Black people, you need to wake up. You need to wake up. I am looking for black-owned businesses. I will give you a video of your own free of charge here on my channel. Dressing your Sunday best. Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show.